So in this video, we are going to answer one simple question. Why ACCA? And for that context, let me also explain what value ACCA adds to any business. And for this, I'll take you to day one of our economics class. When we started learning economics, we understood that whenever any business needs to be started, there are mainly three factors required to start any business. Can you guess? First is land, second is labor, third is capital. Land matlab you have an infrastructure that can be used for a business. Let's take an example. Let's say we are building a company like Maruti Suzuki, which is big in automobile sector. So when I want to build a similar company, for infrastructure purpose, I'll need land, I'll need a factory setup to manufacture the cars. Second, I'll need labor. Labor in the sense, someone who can actually produce the cars. We need human resource over here. And third is capital. Capital means we need finance. And this is the first time when your finance manager or your accountant will come into picture. And the first domain that will be handled over here is corporate finance. Corporate finance is simply when a business needs capital, they go out in the market and raise capital. Now this capital can be raised in multiple ways. It can be raised by giving ownership, something very similar to Shark Tank, or it can be done by taking loan from a bank or from investors, or multiple other ways. So when it comes to picking the right choice, how we should raise the capital, at what rate we should raise the capital, how to analyze our risk, how to increase or decrease our risk, how to justify the risk, all these questions are answered by a finance manager or an accountant who comes with a background such as ACCA. So this is the first value that an ACCA adds to any business. But now after raising the capital, the second question is we need to allocate this capital within the business. And over here, the next part comes where we need to strategize for the business. We need to plan for the business, and then we can set up a budget for the business. And this can be done again by someone who has a strong business acumen, who understands strategy part well, who understands costing part well, who has overall a great business acumen. Someone similar to an ACCA. And the third part is reporting part. Reporting part where we analyze overall business. We understand how we are doing in terms of performance. To give you an example, let's say we assigned a specific budget to the purchase department that please buy certain level of raw material at certain price. And with this, we have certain expectations as well. So at the end of the year, are we outperforming? Have we saved some money? Or are we underperforming? Did we end up spending more? So once this kind of analysis is done, it needs to be reported. And in terms of reporting, we need an accountant, a financial accountant, a management accountant who can gather all the data, do the analysis and present it. Now present to whom? Here we have two key stakeholders. The first key stakeholder is investors, the real owners of the business. They have the first right to understand how the business is performing. And the second key investor is government, where we have certain rules and regulations to be followed. And again here, ACCA steps in with complete expertise of how regulatory framework works. So let's say if you're someone who's working on the European side or someone who's working even in the Indian market, we follow specific accounting standards. And these accounting standards are learnt in IFRS. IFRS simply stands for International Financial Reporting Standards, where we understand each rule and regulation around how to present the data. Now, even in India, we have our own accounting standards, IAS, Indian Accounting Standards. But again, these standards are something that is derived from IFRS, but modified as per our own requirement or context. So again, all these functions is something that can be taken care by an ACCA. But now comes the main point. Let's compare ACCA to other professional courses. If I talk about, let's say, MBA degree from a really good college, they can also take care of all these functions. If I talk about a CMA, let's say US CMA, all these functions can be taken care of. Or if I talk about any other similar professional course, these functions can be replicated. So what special value does ACCA bring in? Here you have to note 2 points. See, ACCA is just not restricted to these three functions. Rather, it goes beyond that. And there are two functions which are still required that a business needs to conduct. The first one is audit as a function. So when we say audit, think of it in this way. When we are running a business, there is always potential for any scam. So it is our responsibility to make sure there's no scam or fraud happening. So how to keep a check on this, how to keep a control on this. And this is something that can be done by an ACCA professional. And again, there are certain audit requirements given by the regulatory authorities as well. For one simple reason. Think of a business like Reliance Industries. Now, Reliance Industries is a public company. People have invested in this business. So it is our money of common people who have invested and which needs to be safeguarded. So when such investment is done, when public companies are in place, it is a requirement by the government, and not just for public companies, even for private companies. An audit needs to be conducted as per the government's rules and regulation to make sure that no fraud or scam is happening within any business. And next part is taxation. Taxation is one part where now it's a required expense. Okay, you have to pay to the government, but there are certain ways, certain conditions where a business can consider saving up some taxes, take benefit of certain schemes given by the government. So again, in this case, who will answer all the questions for you? Again, a professional such as ACCA. So if you are someone who wants to build a career in accounting or else financial management, ACCA can be a great choice. But again, last factor, a lot of candidates compare ACCA to Indian CA. So which one is the right choice? So here I'll give you comparison in terms of 3 factors. The first factor is time factor. See, when I talk about the time required to complete both courses, if I talk about ACCA, the overall examinations take up to 2 years or can go up to 3 years as well, depending on the exemptions you are getting. So if you're comfortable spending 2 to 3 years, ACCA would be the right choice. But when I talk about CA specifically, the competition part is high, there's a good chance you might need multiple attempts, and mainly you have an articleship requirement of 2 years, work experience requirement of 2 years. So on an average, a CA takes 4 to 5 years to complete his or her course. On an average, best case scenario can be 2 to 3 years, but again, on an average 4 to 5 years. So if you're sensitive to time as a factor, then ACCA would be a better choice. Next part is the passing rate. So passing rate has kind of pros and cons in itself. Someone who thinks that they can crack any exam easily, then CA as an examination has passing rate of 10 to 15% at every level. You can consider giving Indian CA exam. But if you're someone who's looking for a bit more comfort in the competition they are going for, or someone who just wants to match the competence level instead of competition, they want to match competence, that I have the required knowledge so that you can practice as a CA, then global CA or rather ACCA would be a much better choice, given that at each exam, each level, the passing rate is somewhere between 40 to 60% as compared to 10 to 15% of Indian CA. That is the second factor. And third is the monetary factor. And to be honest, in this factor, here is a clear winner. See, Indian CA is designed in such a way that the course overall is inclusive in nature. It is affordable for anyone who wants to pursue it. So the fee part is minimal. Starts something around 15 to 20,000 when I had appeared for my CA CPT. It might have changed, but not significantly. The fee stands at an affordable level, where if I consider all the levels together, just for the fee part, which we are paying to ICAI, the Indian accounting body, the overall fee is less than 1 lakh rupee for all exams considered. But if I talk about ACCA, the initial fee, exemption fee, plus all the examination fee, the subscriptions, different modules that you have to complete for employability, for ethics, all inclusive, the fee part that you are paying to ACCA Institute will be north of 2 lakh rupees at least. Usually it goes up to 3 lakh rupees. And the coaching part, if we consider coaching fees for both the courses, more or less they're at similar level. But I've seen some institute charging a premium for ACCA course, but at an average level, at a group level, they are at a comparable level. So if I talk about total expense of ACCA as a course, 2 to 3 lakh rupees for the course and 1 to 1.5 lakh, or it can go up to 2 lakh rupees for the overall coaching part. So if you have a budget of comfortably 4-5 lakh rupees, you can consider going for ACCA. But if you have an initial budget of let's say up to 1 lakh rupee, go ahead with Indian CA with self-study. And let's say if you have budget for coaching as well, you can consider spending up to 2 lakh or even up to 3 lakh rupees in total, depending on the coaching institute you join for the overall program. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If yes, do press the thumbs up button. Do subscribe if you are new to the channel. We got some amazing content coming up. As usual, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.